Hey everybody, mes amis, ma famille, all my patrons, thank y'all so much for y'all support and for tuning in. This is my very first Nouveau Electric Hour live stream. I've been planning this for quite a few weeks, if not longer. It's been 3 months since I played my last gig. So, I am so humbled by how much support I've had. I would not have been able to, be doing this right now without everyone's support to get this far. It's definitely not over. It's definitely a long while to go before we can get back to a normal work schedule playing music. So I decided to start this Patreon to allow me to play music, to share my music, do my radio show, my Pirate Radio Hour. And it's already been a lot of support already, so very grateful. And I'm more than anything just happy to be able to play music for people, even if it's through a camera and through YouTube and other platforms. But I'm gonna play some music from Leo Swallow this week. Leo Swallow was one of the most innovative fiddle players, mainly because not of how he played fiddle, but how he was a producer, if you will. I don't think anyone's ever called him a producer, but he was so groundbreaking in bringing so many different styles into Cajun music, as well as being one of the first recording artists. He recorded with Mayus Lafleur, which possibly would have been the first Cajun record, but Mayus Lafleur died before before his record came out. It was right around the same time as Alonzo Lafayette. And what brought me to want to do Leo Swallow was Mayus Lafleur's song, Hey Mom. And with everything that happened in the last few weeks with George Floyd and his last breath being calling out for his mom, which is so heart-wrenching. You come from your mother and it's the first place you want to go back to, I guess. And this song, Hey Mom, is a call out from Mayus to his mom because he never met her because he was an orphan. And he wanted to use the money he made with the record to meet his mom. And he wanted to use the record as a calling card to find his mom. Hey mom, where are you? Hey mom, are you toite? So I'm gonna start out with Hey Mom, and then we'll go to some more, and I'll talk a little bit more after the song, but I think it's probably time to start playing some music. So here is Mayus Lafleur and Leo Swallow's Hey Mom. Hey mom, you thought this chamon, comment ça se fait, j'étais jamais vous encore, hey mom, you thought this. Hey mom, comment ça se fait, j'ai jamais des nouvelles de toi, j'ai maman, moi je voudrais voir maman. Maman, laisse-moi, tu as un faux. Et ya, maman, mon voudrait, tu vois comment ça se fait, tu vois, je dis jamais vous encore. one. Oh mon, prépare-toi ton nègre, patinoire, oh mon, quand t'es dans le voir qui c'est qu'il y a eu. Hey Mom, such a touching song. Like I said, it's a call out to meet his mom, and you know, I'm reminded of it so often. I was reminded of it when George Floyd called out for his mom, and I'm reminded of it every time I go to see my in-laws. You stop on a light on the Chautauqua Highway in Ville Platte, where Mayus LaFleur was from, and you see his grave right there at the red light. And it's like you always hit the red light, and you're always the only car at it, so you're always right next to his grave, and it says Mayus LaFleur, born, died in 1928. And he had such a short life, and he was such an amazing musician. He died in a moonshine brawl. When he got back from recording in Atlanta with Leo Swallow, where he was hanging out with Jimmy Rogers and the likes, drinking prescription liquor to calm his nerves, especially with that song. When he got back, he went to some of his buddies, and there was a dispute over some payments of some moonshine, because of course during the Prohibition it was illegal, kind of like certain drugs these days, where it's a criminal offense. So it was outlawed to get moonshine, and he ended up dying in a moonshine brawl trying to save his friend from Kossuth Manuel, who said, "Oh, you have a problem with the payment? Well, I got an answer for you," and came back with some guns, and he tried to save his friend and got shot in the process. The other side of the record of Hey Mom was Ton papa m'a jeté dehors, and apparently the story goes that he married a girl. Being a musician, it was not, the ideal partner for your daughter to be marrying a musician, as we all know. Cheers. But he built them a house, and his father-in-law still didn't like him. Apparently, his father-in-law kicked him out the house and burnt it down. Somehow the story goes, I don't know the order, if it was after he died or what, but he wrote a song called Ton papa m'a jeté dehors, Your Daddy Kicked Me Out. Moi je t'ai dit de ma maison, moi j'aime autant. Moi je connais le jour à venir. T'auras duré pour ça taper un temps vinaigre pas longtemps. Oh, malheureuse, mais moi je connais le jour à venir. T'auras duré pour ça taper un temps vinaigre pas longtemps. degrés. Pour Santa Fe, il a conviné, il n'y a pas longtemps, Michel Mion. Ton papa m'a acheté dehors. Your daddy threw me out. I wanted to backtrack for just a sec, and I wanted to go back to the words of "Hey Mom" because they're so strong. Like I said, Maurice Lafleur was an orphan, never got to meet his mom. He and Leo Swallow went to Atlanta to record that song, and apparently Mayus broke that on Leo out of nowhere. He had never played the song for anybody, but it was his special song to call his mom. And the words are, "Oh mom, you toi t'es, chère mom, comment ça se fait? T'es jamais venu encore. Oh mama, you toi t'es. Mama, where are you at? Why have you never come? You know, where are you?" And he says, "Mama, comment ça se fait? J'ai jamais des nouvelles de toi. Mama, why have I never had any news from you? And then I want to see you, Mama. Je voudrais te voir, Mama." And then he says, "Hey, yai, Mama, je voudrais te voir quand même une fois avant mourir, chère Mom, yai. Mama, I want to see you before I die." And that's the saddest part of the whole story is that he didn't get to see his mom. He didn't even get to look for her. He got right back from the recording session and got killed. And he was going to use the song when it would be one of the first Cajun French songs broadcasted to the world to call his mom. And then he goes on to say, basically, "Viens avec chérie," he's talking to his girlfriend, "Viens avec moi là-bas, let's go over there and see my mama. It'll be the first time I ever see her. La première fois je vais la voir." And then he says, "Oh mom, prépare-toi, mama, get ready. Ton nègre est parti voir, your boy is coming to see you. Oh mom, garde donc, viens voir qui c'est à you." He says, "Mom, check out what everything's been going on. Look at who I've become and who I am." And God is so sad, you know, to know that he never got to see her. Anyway, and then the side B, like I said, was "Ton papa m'a acheté dehors." I would like to just take a moment to thank all of you. I have just started the Patreon last week, and I already have 16 patrons, so thanks to every one of you. Might have to actually open up my Patreon so I can thank you individually. But just figuring it out, you know, as my first go around with this live stream. I did a pirate radio show, which some of you might have checked out. I'm still working out some of the kinks, you know, with sound and such. So this time I'm going into 2 mics, which is sending a feed through the board to the camera instead of using the camera audio. So I think this will be better. I'm going to now do, well, I'll tell you a little more story about Leo Swallow. His first recordings were with Maurice Lafleur. Maurice Lafleur was shot and killed, like I said. So Leo started playing with Moïse Robin. And the two of them went on to make quite a few records. One of them, which I've never actually played before, I'm going to try for the first time for y'all right now, is called Josephine. And it's about Moïse Robin. I mean, it's from his perspective. He's singing, and he goes to visit her on his horse, and the mom and the dad don't like him, of course. And he wants her to wear her pink dress. So, Josephine. ta mère, fais ton papa, ta maman. Ça c'est toi commandant, toi tu veux comment je vais faire. Josephine. Like I said, that was the very first time I've played that. I've listened to it a bunch. I just messed around with it just before just to make sure I was in the right key or whatever. But I think that's the beautiful thing about this music or any music. It's like a language, you know. It's like I've heard the song and I've heard the story, so I'm retelling the story. And that's a beautiful one. And it actually was, while I was playing, it reminded me of Amadé Ardouin's Valse de Guédon. So maybe next time I'll have to do Amadé Ardouin. One of my biggest influences for sure. Amadé Ardouin and Amadé Bro. But Leo Swallow has definitely been up there. So Leo Swallow, after Marius Lafleur died, was playing with Moïse Robin from right here where I'm recording, right up the road here, Point Cloud. And Moïse Robin ended up going to Angola for quite a few years for shooting his ex-wife or something of that nature. And in fact, I think my uncle just told me that some of our cousins saw him walking with the gun when he left. And he spent the next few decades in Angola. He got out and made some late recordings, which are really interesting. But I think he was a little deranged, a little troubled, so to say. But needless to say, after Marius Lafleur died and Moïse Robin went to jail, Leo Swallow had gone through 2 accordion players that ended very badly. So Leo Swallow, I think, and it was the times where music was changing and the nation was changing, and Leo Swallow went into fiddle band mode. And he started the 3 aces, he had the 4 aces, because before he had the Swallow Cousins, which was him and his brother or him and his cousin, and then he had, he played with Marius Lafleur and Moïse Robin, some of the earliest recordings, but some, including Ryan Brasso, credit Leo Swallow with being the first Cajun swing player, because he was also the first one to have drums in his band. In all of Cajun music, which apparently includes being all of country music. So he was the first country musician to have a drummer. Before Bob Wills, he had a guy named Tony Gonzalez, who I believe was playing with the jazz bands in New Orleans and took the train back to Crowley, or whatever happened, because that's where all the bands were based out of Crowley at that time. Leo Swallow had moved from Ville Platte to Crowley. The Hackberry Ramblers had moved to Crowley. They all had their base in Crowley. That's where Joe Falcon was, the Bro Brothers. Crowley was the happening town, and so he started this Cajun swing music, and it's really cool to see what he does. And he just, not only did he get away from troubled accordion players, but he got to really be a super big innovator and made a lot lot of huge contributions to Cajun music. Here's one of my favorite ones I play often with Micho's Melody Makers, and it's called Machati Fi. And this is the first song that has drums in it, and they're not at all played like drums are played today in Cajun music. It's played much more like a jazz band or something. So here's Machati Fi. À toi, mon ex-chéri, tu vas où est la belle chérie quand ton nez il est pas là. À toi, mon ex-chéri, tu connais chérie, tu as promis où est ton bébé. Ton nez est pas la monnaie, pas tirer la balle à chat quand ton nez est la monnaie. Ah, toi, mon ex-chéri, tu connais chérie, tu as promis où est ton bébé. Well, I was doing that rice pump with my foot. Couldn't exactly hear like a drum set, but you know, I love that driving bass drum. So thank you, Leo Swallow, for bringing drums into Cajun music. Et je vais parler un petit peu pour son style de violon, parce que il a vraiment rajouté toute qualité de musique des États-Unis. Il a rajouté les blues, il a rajouté du jazz et la vieille musique cajun, créole et tout ça. Mais il a eu toutes sortes d'enregistrements en anglais même et des blues. In fact, one of his songs was included in the Third Man Records Paramount recordings. It's called Rider, Easy Rider Blues, which is, I'm sure, a cover of someone else's, as someone could tell me. Oh, Rider, you know. It's very, very blues, you know. I love that Cajun blues stuff. I mean, it's so, if you think about it, I mean, you know, some people talk about Cajun music being isolated, which, in a sense, kind of isolated culturally in other ways, but it's, you know, it's also in between Mississippi, Texas, New Orleans, Arkansas. So, you know, it's really at the center of a lot of different cultural meeting places. Say Texas, for example, Houston, which had a lot of, you know, French Louisianians, Cajuns, and Creoles, also had the whole Hispanic side, the German side, so many different cultures right there in Texas that had their own musics, and yet musicians playing all the way from Austin to New Orleans and back and forth and further, obviously. You had New Orleans right there, right there, like a few train stops away, and then you had Mississippi. So, it's really, to me, it's important to note how much of an American music Cajun music is. That is part of the creation of this new music, and it continues to be. There's no reason it had to stop at any point, and it hasn't. That's just, of course, I can go into the whole thing about tradition. What is tradition? What is traditional music? Because to us, traditional music, or say to a modern generation, traditional music, is something that someone made 80 years ago. But when they made it 80 years ago, it was not traditional at all. A lot of times it was cutting edge, hardcore, maybe even not loved at the moment. Maybe it took people a while to like it. Or maybe it was a hit. But it was a hit because it was like a popular cover of a popular song. So, I think I hear my baby. Let me just check out what's going on over here. Y'all are ruining my recording. Who's sent y'all over here? Well, had to be done. My boys decided to come over here and be all crazy loud, so I told them they're ruining my recording. But you just gotta tell them that so they'll be like, shh. Anyway, I should bring them in here to play with y'all. I will do that soon. I'll bring Julian can play a nice valse de vache, and Louis can play, actually this, Louis likes to play the syndrome right here, one of his favorite things. And Marius can play triangle. We'll do a little family jam for y'all one day soon. But I'm gonna keep on the Leo Swallow. En parlant des blues, he had a song called Conche Bleu, and we kind of renamed it Blues de Coyote with the Michel's Melody Makers. And see, that's one of the reasons I started Michel's Melody Makers is there's so much amazing fiddle music that, I wanted to focus on. Not that we can't do it with Lost Bayou Ramblers. I mean, it's even super amazing with Lost Bayou Ramblers with Andre on the steel and everything, but it goes repertoires, bands, schedules, and Michel's Melody Makers was another chance for me to play a whole nother side of the repertoire. And this song, Conche Bleu, also known as like La Valse de Bon Bouchard, and a lot of other names. We call it a coyote sur le chemin, a coyote on the road. And I personally love coyotes. I mean, they've eaten my chickens before, but I love wolves, I love coyotes. I think they're a very essential species in the chain. Some people don't like them, and just like they killed the wolves off, it was definitely a mistake. And I don't want that to happen to the coyotes too. And they can reproduce pretty damn fast. But hey, we're known to have killed a lot of things off. So this is called Coyote sur le chemin. Achetez-vous sur le chemin comme un coyote, Marianne dans la tête, c'est malheureuse comme un couillon. J'ai demandé, où mais toi t'es grand. Il m'a dit que t'es petit, mais mon ami, tu vas trouver. J'ai demandé à ta maman pour toi. Elle m'a dit, t'étais parti. Tu me vas jamais trouver encore. Tu connais, je me sens tout seul, comme un coyote sur les grands chemins. Oh man, such an interesting thing playing a live stream for y'all. It's like music. You could just close your eyes and disappear, and the sound is a whole nother world. And but here I am playing music in my newly arranged little studio here. So it has been a nice change during the quarantine to be able to work on music at home because, of course, normally so busy on the road, playing gigs, managing gigs, booking gigs, and taking care of the family. Not much time to really sit down and create. So it has been a nice change. So that's definitely a positive to come out of this. We've been fortunate enough to to not have we've been fortunate enough to not have had anyone sick in our immediate family and to have been able to make it thus far. And I have to thank everyone who supported us to get to this moment, because I could not have imagined that would have lost all my gigs, about 50 to date, that I would have played and been paid for. And I've not had one of those. Two gigs gave me a small deposit, which I shared with the bands, Soul Creole, and then one of them was a solo masterclass. But man, I miss playing with Soul Creole. I miss playing with Micho's Melody Makers. I miss playing with Lost Spotty Ramblers. I miss playing with Goldman Thibodeau. I miss playing with Les Frères Michaud. I miss playing with Poetry. I'm so lucky to have so many amazing bands to be part of. And wow, it's amazing to see how far it's come, Let's see. So I played Hey Mom. Oh, I know a good one. It's actually, going through this, I'm realizing how many of these songs are part of what I've been doing with Micho's Melody Makers. It's wow. It's like this has been really a big part of Leo Swallow's repertoire. Has been a big part of Micho's Melody Makers, and I'm realizing, looking through this, because I was about to. The next song I was going to play is Blues de Nick Francais, and this is another Moïse Robin Leo Swallow song. It also went on to be a lot of Zydeco songs, or something like that. It's always hard to say who created the song, who wrote the song, who learned it from who. But that's the interesting thing about Cajun, Zydeco, and Creole music is everything is very deeply intertwined. And I think it's an amazing example of American inclusion, so to say, where, of course, there's definitely been racial problems, and there's definitely been all the normal problems of society, but it's also been a place where, you know, the influence that each culture has contributed has been celebrated a lot more than in other parts of the country, I would say, and still lives today. I mean, Zydeco music is, to me, one of the best musics in the world, you know, as well as Cajun and Creole, but man, it's just, I find myself so fortunate to be from here around so many amazingly creative people. But anyway, here's something called Blues de Nick Francais that influenced a lot of songs. You might recognize some of them. And this is off the Michel's Melody Makers Blood Moon album, which I happen to have right here because I'm using it as my mouse pad. This came out a year and a half ago. And our first album. We're getting ready to release our second album, which is a live album, excuse me. Sorry, got a dry throat. A live album recorded live at Saturn Bar, New Orleans. And if you're wondering what this great green drink I'm drinking here is, it is absinthe. It's not straight absinthe. This is Bayou Teche Brewing's new H2O EAUX hard water with 2 types of wormwood in it. And if you can see, this is their great new glasses that is Papa Floyd Knott, and it's a tiki glass. So Bayou Teche always coming up with some amazing drinks. They're not even my sponsor, but I've been working with them for the last 10 years. So, you know, I love what they do. They've been very supportive in my music career. And I'm one of the biggest fans of all the drinks they create. And I love absinthe, so perfect. So here's something called Blues de Nick Francais. Que papa, j'ai plus maman. J'ai plus petit frère, j'ai plus petit sœur. Plus de parents, j'ai plus nana. J'ai plus de parents, j'ai plus d'amis. Plus de cousins, j'ai plus de cousins. Voyez tout seul comme un pauvre orphelin. Par la bague, je veux pas trop. Viens là-bas, me chérie, je malheureux. Mais t'as prévenu, si j'appelle un autre mot. On va mettre mes chamets derrière toi, chat. Galaba, mais les précourir. Galaba, mais les prévenir. Galaba, mais les précourir. Galaba, mais l'île s'en vient. Ah, mais Gal il précourir avec son chapeau dans la main. Galaba, mais qui vient. Un petit négresse après me courir. Regardons là, ça c'est ma petite belle. Mais dépêche-toi, laisse-moi voir tes petits yeux chats. Galaba, galaba, le prévenir. Mais galaba, galaba, mais le prévenir. Galaba, galaba, mais le prévenir. Galaba, galaba, mais il s'en vient. Oh, Rastafari. Blues de nègre français, blues of a Frenchman. You might think it sounds like Oh Timon. And the Zydeco version is Why You Wanna Make Me Cry. Why you wanna make me cry tonight? Not exactly like that, but something like that. So this is the Nouveau Electric Hour, and the reason it's the Nouveau Electric Hour is because I started this record label called Nouveau Electric Records in January of 2018. It was before Lost Bayou Ramblers won the Grammy. I started that new year. It was like I woke up in 2018 being like, all right, this is the year I'm starting my label, because I'd been wanting to start one for 10 years, and it's like every time I went to start one, it just wasn't the right time. You know, I had to deal with a lot of different tribulations over the years, as anyone doing something, you know, in the art world and in longevity usually does. You have to deal with things. Anyone, but I had to deal with some, you know, things that prepared me to start this label, and felt it was finally the right time in 2018. Our first release was The Stone, from my residency at John Zorn's The Stone in New York. And that was in August of 2018, September of 2018, because the first release was a single by Levy Bandits, which is Bad Chad remixing Lost Bayou Ramblers tunes. But since then, I think we're on our 11th release, which is Goldman Thibodeau and the Lawtell Playboys, a band I play in that I didn't mention earlier. And this album we recorded live at his family reunion in Mallet, Louisiana. Excuse me, got the dry throat. And then I also released this last month, which is Le String Noise. It's Layla McCalla, and it's String Noise, which is Conrad Harris and Pauline Kim and myself. So us four became Le String Noise, playing off of String Noise, which is Conrad and Pauline's amazing group you have to check out. Super cool duo. I mean, can't even describe what kind of violin playing they do, because it's totally next level, out of this world. And of course, Layla McCalla being a New Orleans Haitian cello, banjo player, singer, you know, digging into her own Haitian roots. So this was a really fun project. So, you know, this Nouveau Electric Hour has been another way for me to explore my own music, start my pirate radio show, which I've been super happy about. That has been so much fun. I'm going to probably do it on hurricanes this week, so stay tuned Thursday for that. I'm going to take this moment to thank all my patrons. This is the first time I do this, so excuse me if I mess anything up. I'm just going to start at the back. I'm going to start by, oh shoot, sorry y'all. So we have, I should have been more prepared, but I didn't think to do it until during the recording. Valerie Brochet Mendoza. We have Sal Nero. We have Richard Schattenfeld, Michael Baldwin, Michael Weber, Catherine Michaud. Thanks, Kat. We have Josue Savoie. We have Eric Fruman. We have James Billsborough, Dale Gunno, Corey Gilsdorf, Christopher Vinn, Chris Frazier, Charles Fontenot, Brooke Broussard, Brenda Gobin, and Bernard. Do you have a last name, Bernard? I think it's Piton or Pinon. I know that because he was going to cook for us in St. Louis. So thank you so much for all of your support. I cannot tell you how much this means to me because, you know, the stress and anxiety of not being able to pay your bills and figuring out what you're going to do when you've been working on one thing your whole life, you know, is so nerve-wracking, especially when you have children. And oh my gosh, so it is, I cannot express to y'all how much this has been a positive experience for me. Y'all put my mind at ease. I get to play music. I mean, it's all positives. So I hope that I can bring something positive to you. And I will take this opportunity to let you know that if there is anything that you would like me to play or like me to talk about, I'm definitely open to suggestions. No promises, like I'm not going to play Freebird. Maybe. No, I'm not. But I'm definitely down, you know, to have conversations, to have suggestions. But enough talking. You can also tell me, hey, Louie, please don't talk anymore. Just play music the whole time, and I would be happy to do that. But I like to talk, and I like to talk about what's behind the music and what's, you know, behind me, inside me. But I'm going to get back to this with another Leo Swallow song that I did with Michaud's Melody Makers called Allons boire un coup. But to do it, I have to detune. Which takes me a sec. Allons boire un coup, allons boire un coup, allons boire un coup, oh yeah. 25 sous des mille, 5 ans sous le camp, un percé de mille, fait du mi-galant. Allons boire un coup, allons boire un coup, allons boire un coup, oh yeah. Passez sous les milles, un piastre et demi, fait demi-galant, allons boire un coup. 25 sous les milles, 5 ans sous le camp, un piastre et demi, fait demi-galant, allons boire un coup, allons boire un coup, allons boire un coup, oh yeah. Woo! I should have ended on that because I have to tune back. It always takes a minute for the violin to shift. You detune one string and it takes all the other ones shift, and it takes a minute for it to really equalize, but I wasn't ready to wait. I pulled it off, I think, pretty good. I'll let y'all be the judge of that. I have time for one more song on this very first episode of the Nouveau Electric Hour live stream. J'ai temps pour une autre chanson. Et cette chanson-là est une des premières chansons que moi et André on avait appris ensemble. Ça s'appelle Je veux marier. Et c'est Leo Swallow, the Swallow Cousins. I love how they spell it on the record, Couzens, cousins, and it's called Je veux marier, and it's like I want to get married, but I don't have any money. I don't have any money, and the eggs aren't laying. The hens aren't laying. Je veux marier, and I want to get married, but the priest don't want. The priest don't want. Okay, now the priest wants, but the girl don't want. Now the girl wants, but I don't have any money. Or the girl wants now, but the old people don't want. And now the old people want, but don't have any money. Just this circle of you want to get married, but nothing's coming together because you ain't got it all together. Interesting problems of old and of new. So once again, thank y'all so much. This has been a real pleasure. Gosh, it gives me a reason to play music because, you know, taking care of 3 kids all day and being a husband, a father, and a provider, and kitchen infinity pool maker, by the way, is a full-time job, and it's hard to get away and play music unless it's like a gig, which I haven't had in 3 months. So this gives me a reason to play music, which I love. I feel better already. So I hope y'all enjoying it. Je souhaite que vous autres après aimez ça et que ça vous fait du bien, autant que ça fait du bien à moi. Et je vais jouer une autre chanson. Ça s'appelle Je veux marier. Je veux marier, mais la belle veut pas. La belle veut, la belle veut, la belle veut, mais le vieux veut pas. Les vieux veulent, les vieux veulent, les vieux veulent, mais le prêtre veut pas. Les vieux veulent, les vieux veulent, les vieux veulent, mais le prêtre veut pas. Je veux marier, je veux marier, je veux marier, mais j'ai pas d'argent. J'ai pas d'argent, j'ai pas d'argent, j'ai pas d'argent, les poules pont pas. Les poules pont, les poules pont, les poules pont, mais les vieux veulent pas. Je veux marier, je veux marier, je veux marier, mais les poules pont pas. Les poules pont pas, les poules pont pas, les poules pont pas, j'ai pas d'argent. Les poules pont, les poules pont, les poules pont, mais le prêtre veut pas. La prêtre veut, la prêtre veut, la prêtre veut, mais le vieux veut pas. Je veux marier, je veux marier, je veux marier, mais la belle veut pas. All right. Brings me back to my days of busking on the streets, you know. Really, like, learned so much doing that, and I'm learning right now. This has been the longest I've played in a few weeks, and, you know, I love continuing learning, continue using my feet, my hands, my voice, trying new songs I haven't tried in a long time, trying new songs I've never played, and playing new songs, old songs that I haven't played in a long time, like that one. I haven't played that song in so long, and it brings a smile to my face to think about the hens won't lay, and you don't have any money, and then the hens lay, but then the girl don't want, and it's just a great little round of events happening. But thank y'all so much. I will be back to do this again next week. I might even play that accordion right here if I can figure out how to use it a little better. And I will be doing the Pirate Radio Show Thursday, so I'll be sending y'all a link to that as well. And thank you so much again for your patronage, and spread the word to anyone who might enjoy it as well. And please send me any messages. I love being in touch. Thank y'all. Soyez vous autres et jusqu'à la prochaine semaine, mes amis.